Well, hello, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle. Just playing with the camera. Okay. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics. So, for those of you who have no idea what this web series is about, let me tell you what we're about. We are about the truth, we are about education, information. Can't think of another shun right now. I was trying to think of another shun, but we're all about learning, we're all about education, we're all about sharing knowledge with our people and not our people. And we whatever it is that we're talking about, we want to put it all out in the open, and this is the web series to do that. So we like to talk that real talk. We like to talk about things that are steamy, and we tend to focus on topics in education, in business, finance, families, friendships. We tend to focus on all that fruity stuff. So these things are important to us, and excuse me, and we want to talk to you guys about these things, and that's the point of this web series, is for you to gain knowledge about the world around you. So today's topic, I am excited about this topic. The topic today is social media management. So I know the business owners out there, or for the people that are just learning about Facebook, this is the episode for you. We are going to talk about the tips and the tricks and the slicks and the drips about social media, how to manage social media, how to capitalize on it, how to understand the algorithm. So, how to use social media for yourself and for your business and for your brand. So, we are going to teach you those things. I know there's questions that you've always wanted to know about how it works. Well, this is the show for you. And I have a guest with me who is going to help me out. She is actually a returning guest, which is awesome. It is always awesome when the guests return to the hot seat. So this is a returning guest, and I am excited for that. Her name is Brittany Gregorio, and I am going to just remind you about who she is. So, who is Brittany Gregorio? Let me remind you who she is. So, Brittany started her business as an experienced virtual assistant and flourished into a marketing strategist specializing on content marketing. Her passion is helping entrepreneurs reach their growth goals. When she is not running her successful company, she spends a lot of snuggle time with her three boys, two rescue cats, and loving husband. So awesome. All right. So I look really low right now. I'm sorry. I'm like obsessed. So I am going to bring Brittany to the stage. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Gabrielle. Great. How are you?
Good. Thank you for coming back to the hot seat, back to the show.
Yeah, of course. I'm really excited.
Yeah. So, I brought you on to talk about social media and social media management and the things to know and the things to learn. And, people out there want to know. So, I'm going to hand over the baton to you, and I'm just going to have you explain social media management.
Yeah. So, wow, that's a big one. There is a lot that goes into social media, whether you're using it for your own personal uses or you are an entrepreneur and trying to leverage it for your online business, or even if you have a brick and mortar and you a small bit of your business is online, whatever it is, everybody's on social media. Having these platforms in this day and age is really a gift. I know sometimes that it can be a little. Social media is a beast and it is daunting, but at the end of the day, it's amazing that we have this technology, because when I was growing up, we didn't have this. So we had MySpace. If anybody remembers MySpace, that was fun. Um, but it's really wonderful because we can connect and we can expand, and share things and create connections and friendships, and then you leverage it for your business. So there's a lot that goes into social media management. I'll speak more on the entrepreneurial side because that's what I do. I help the entrepreneurs out there manage their social media. So what does that mean? Well, every social media manager does things differently. So I will speak to what I do as a social media manager. I devise a very specific marketing strategy, and then I actually implement it. So when you are that busy entrepreneur and you need some kind of strategy for your social media presence set, but you also don't have the time to actually be the doer and post all of the things and get graphics done and copy and all of your beautiful content, I come in there and I do it for you. So, Gabrielle, let me know if you have any specific questions because I just don't want to be talking for hours about it.
No, no, it's fine. It's whatever comes up. And for anyone happen to watching this episode in real time, please add your questions to the chat. So let's let's break the major social media outlets down one by one. So let's talk about Facebook. What do entrepreneurs or anyone trying to use Facebook for their brand, what do they need to know that will help them expand their brand?
Yeah, so it really goes, this really does go, you know, for all platforms. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. But since you asked about Facebook, we'll talk about Facebook. But just going across any platform, just to hold in mind is that just being authentic is key. You have to be authentic. For the entrepreneur trying to make an online presence, you have to do something that not everybody else is doing. You have to kind of go against the grain and be the rebel in your space to get noticed. Because if you think about it, you only have about 3 to 5 seconds to make that first impression. So you just want to be like super authentic. Um, about your content, about your brand, about your messaging, and how you're going to leverage Facebook for that. So Facebook is great. Facebook, you can have your personal profile, which is really, it's awesome. You can have a group, you can have a business page. So it depends where you want to go with your business. I always suggest leveraging all. You want to be posting your content on your personal. You want to, if a group is applicable to you, then have a group. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs that have a group and they give a lot of value in that group. It's almost like an insiders group. Um, so that's a really great tool to leverage are the groups. And then you have your business page, which you should also be leveraging. So you want to, on any platform, you want to utilize what the platform gives you. For Facebook gives you all of these things. You can host watch parties and you can use the live function. Now you can do stories on Facebook. So always leverage everything any platform has to give you. But on Facebook, you really should have a presence in, all three avenues. And that again would be the personal profile, the group, if applicable, and a business page. You also might want to really start dipping your toes into groups. If there are groups out there that you can join, maybe there are other entrepreneur groups for you or other groups that, that's where your ideal client is hanging out. Those people are your people. They align with you. They're like-minded, and you know that they could potentially become a client or customer in your business. You want to start dipping your toes in groups and starting conversations in them and making that connection. Because that person won't necessarily remember a personal profile or an invitation to another group, or they saw something on a business page. They might not remember that, but they will remember a connection. And that's what really social media is all about. It's about that connection. So I hope that answered the question.
Yes, yes, thank you. I wanted to just take a moment and share this Facebook post. I'm just going to share my screen. So give me 1 second as I pull this up. It's a post that I put up. Um, is that 5 years ago. Is my math right? Um, 5 years ago is some things that'll influence the algorithm. So I'll just go through these and you'll tell me if it's accurate or not. So I just want to make sure you could see the screen. You could see the screen, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fabulous. So, um, to make sure your messages reach more people, if you see a post you really like on Facebook and you agree with it, don't just like it, but comment on it. Even if you just comment, yes, I agree, or I'm glad you shared this, it'll help give a nice bump and we'll tell Facebook to show it to more people. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, so the algorithm, it changes almost daily. For sure changes weekly, but it changes almost daily. So I don't know if because of all of the changes, it's kind of hard to say if it will be boosted and more eyes will get on it, but it is always really helpful to comment 3 words or more. And if you can't find a fourth word, use an emoji or something. But it is always helpful for that person's post, for more people. If it's going on a business page, for example, more people might see it on the business page if that answers your question, or on a personal profile. The people that are already your friends might see it. Because right now, especially on a business page, I think the last statistic was about 3% see anything on a business page. Only 3%. So that's a low percent. So this is hard to tell now if you are indeed typing in yes I agree or more words. I don't think it has to be yes I agree. I think just more words will help visibility.
So are you saying it's better to use a personal profile to reach people as opposed to a business page?
So a business, that's a great question. I get asked that a lot. So a business page you should have always, because it gives you credibility, right? It lets people know, okay, this is a real business. It gives you Facebook credibility. So you should have that. But yes, for more views, either the group or your personal profile is in my personal opinion, what what an entrepreneur should be leveraging if they want more eyes on what they're posting.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to go through all these tips. You guys, the viewers, you can see it for yourself. So I'm actually going to stop sharing. Um, but to further that along, um, so something like what I find helps is like the thing with post is that once you post it, it goes away after a while. Uh, especially if other people are posting. So what what helps is if you comment on that old post, it'll refresh it and it'll move it to the top of the page. So, because it can get lost. So if you comment on an old post, it'll actually, bring it back to the top so people can see it. Um, what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Okay, so let's talk about time of day. What's the best time of day to make your posts?
So another great question. The viewers might not like the answer, but you actually have to test it. You have to do some testing to see what time of day works for your audience. Every business is different, in that their people might be online at different times of the day. Um, and if your messaging is if it's just a really good content based post with some great information, or maybe a personal story or testimonial, I've personally found for myself, it doesn't matter what time of day I post. I have a pretty high, I get a lot of hearts and likes and comments. So um, I get really good engagement on my posts. But putting me aside for a minute, I think that it just really depends on your people. If your people are night people, post in the night. If you're gearing maybe toward moms, especially the stay-at-home mom, they probably have 5 minutes in the morning before the chaos of the day with the kiddos, before they drive their kids to school. They're savoring every sip of their coffee, probably scrolling through social media. So that would be the best time, maybe early morning before school starts. So it really does depend on the business. It depends on the level and value of the content, but testing is what must be done. You have to, and not just a couple of days. You have to really test it for several weeks to see where you're falling at with engagement. And then with that being said, if your testing isn't looking like how you want it to look like and you're not getting the views or the engagement, you need to then take a look at your content.
So, what type of content would get more engagement? I know, like a tip for that's helped me is more. I find that more pictures and videos tend to get more views as opposed to um, just a block of text. So, what can people do to get more views?
Yeah, great question. So videos for sure. Live videos, like go live. Your audience, your people, they want to see you. They want to see your face. They want to hear your voice. They want to, depending on the business, they might need some explaining as to, okay, or maybe you have a high ticket item and your people need to follow along with you for a while, before committing to that high ticket item. So videos are great and it builds a relationship, it builds a connection. We live in a world where everything is very highly digitized. There's a lot of programs out there, there's a lot of stuff on social media, there's a lot of pointing and clapping and dancing and all the stuff to like and words appear. And that's all great. Like I'm not knocking anybody or any trend. If that fits you and you're having success and you're having the conversion rate that you want to see, great. More power to you. I'm so excited for you. But it's unlikely you know that is happening. It's likely that you're not getting the engagement, you're not getting the views, and you're not getting the conversion that you want from social media. So my number one tip would be just to go live, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Trust me. I have 3 boys in the background. I'm actually surprised they're not screaming right now, but um, you have to just be you and your audience wants to see that. So leveraging video, absolutely. And this is interesting. Graphics are great, but not the busy graphics. Not the busy graphics. So if your graphics are super, super busy, tone that down because the eye goes to a bunch of different stuff. If this is your personal profile, we're talking by all means, I'm just more speaking to the entrepreneurs. Um, Busy graphics are just no. It's not serving you. It's not serving your people. Chances are, it might be a visually stunning graphic, but your audience is just scrolling through because it's not. Maybe the message isn't clear, or there's a lot of different colors or designs, and they don't know where to look. And an overwhelmed mind is just going to scroll, and they're not going to stay, consistent to your brand and the message that you're putting out. Okay, so the simpler the better. White background, everything, it doesn't have to be all scripty and fancy. No, white background, do like a tweet quote or like a testimonial quote. I really like to utilize Canva. Um, Canva has a free version and a paid version. So the paid version is not that expensive. I think it's like $12.99 a month. So I like to utilize that version. But you can utilize the free version. They have hundreds of free templates. So maybe take a look at a more simple template, not so much colors and craziness, super simple, and get your message just in there, a one-liner, tops two, and see what happens. Graphics and videos do require some testing too. Um, just depending on what the content is surrounding a video or a graphic. The videos and graphics for sure, absolutely are powerful right now. And I think that they will continue to be powerful. Absolutely.
Great. Awesome. All right. So let's talk about Instagram. Why Instagram? Does it help? What's the purpose? I mean, I could see Instagram for for people who have product based businesses. Um, because you're showcasing your product and how it works, and especially people with like food and bakeries. I mean, highly recommend Instagram for people who make cupcakes and cakes and all that. So I see it for like product based businesses, food based businesses, but what about a service based business? How can a service based business or any business, however you want to answer the question, how can they utilize Instagram?
Yeah, great question. For products, absolutely. For services, actually, too. A lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs that are service based do really well on Instagram. Depending on what the business is, like I'm just trying to think of an example. I personally see a lot of service-based entrepreneurs doing really well on Instagram. And then a lot of them do the more serious ones that do well on Instagram tend to do really well on LinkedIn too. And we can speak to that in a few. But Instagram is just great for, again, relationship building. So I don't know about the viewers watching, but when I first joined Facebook, seems like forever ago, when I first joined, it was more of like friends, family. You connected with people you knew. And that's how the platform was for a really long time. So with Instagram, Instagram's different. It's almost like you don't really, it's not a big deal if you don't know this person. You just want to build the connections and the follows and bring in a whole new audience into your ecosystem and take them from cold to warm to hot, right? That's kind of the goal. So Instagram is really cool because nobody's really looking. I personally feel like Facebook's a bit more personal, whereas Instagram, it's like, wow, let me connect with somebody. I'm here in New York, I don't know this person in California, but they look really cool, I'm going to connect with them. So Instagram is more about a colder market connection, if that makes sense, and just bringing new followers and new leads into your ecosystem. Whereas something like Facebook, you might have these relationships for people that you know, friend of a friend, family member, friend of a family member, however it goes. Um, but Instagram, it's very powerful, and I just want to point this out too. It At the end of the day, all of these platforms are amazing, but at the end of the day, for the entrepreneur, as long as you are authentic and building out your marketing in a strategic way and building out your content in a strategic way, you will be successful on any social media platform. I don't care which one. You'll be successful on any of them. So it's great to break down the individual platform, but as long as you have strategy and you know what your audience wants, you can deliver that effectively across any platform. It really won't matter which ones you choose to leverage.
That is wonderful advice. Thank you for sharing that. Um, I will add, I also find Instagram is more picture friendly. Um, so like the thing with Facebook, like the pictures again, they get lost with time. Um, so I think in terms of the preservation of pictures, I find that Instagram is better, especially if you look at the profile. Um, and I find that Facebook is better in terms of connecting with other people. Um, so if you want to meet other entrepreneurs and find other people, I find that Facebook is better in terms of the personal connection. Instagram is better in terms of if you want to showcase something. At least that's what I find. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
Yeah, everybody's take is different. It depends on the person. It depends on your personality. It depends on the business. There's a lot of moving pieces, so it really depends. What you might witness, Gabrielle, on social media is something very different than what I'm witnessing, and that's fine. That's what it's kind of meant to be. You're supposed to take social media and just kind of make it your own. So it can be very different for each individual person as they go across the platforms. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's get into watching the time here. Let's get into Twitter. I personally don't see the point of Twitter, but I have it, so whatever. So tell us about Twitter.
I have no idea. I'm not, at least I'm honest. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not obviously I'm not familiar with it. I'm not well versed with it. I don't understand what the point is. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one.
I mean, I do find Twitter good in terms of learning about the news. Um, but in terms of business, I don't know. I'm personally having a hard time seeing the point of Twitter. All right, so let's move on. All right, you brought up LinkedIn. I used to have LinkedIn, and then I stopped. I stopped caring. Um, tell us about LinkedIn.
So LinkedIn is really great for people in the corporate world, in the professional world. For a lot of coaches, they do really well on LinkedIn. Any type of coach, but business coaches, life coaches, all the coaches. The coaches do seem to do very well on LinkedIn. As I mentioned, corporate people, admins, lawyers, marketers. So LinkedIn, I was very overwhelmed when I first joined LinkedIn. I found it to be just a lot. I got on there and I was almost like super overwhelmed. And I probably still don't know all of the ins and outs on LinkedIn, but it's great for, you mentioned the news. I think that LinkedIn is really great for staying current with trends, with news things, um, current events, all of that. And it looks, there's just something special about LinkedIn. I don't know, that might sound a little weird to my viewers watching and listening, but there's just something about it, something special about it. It's, once you kind of get to know it a little bit better, it's clean, it's crisp, it's just very professional looking, and there's not a lot of noise, if you will, if that makes sense. A lot of negative chatter that you might see on Facebook, in groups, on some of these posts. I find that you don't find the negative chatter on LinkedIn. Not so much Instagram either. That's what I found. Not a lot of negative chatter, a lot of positive stuff. There's a lot of very bold people on LinkedIn. They're all about empowerment and they want to speak their mind and they have a really strong message to get it across. So um, LinkedIn is great. And if you haven't used it and you want to kind of get your toes a little wet with LinkedIn, I really invite you to do so. Because I think that it is a powerful tool.
Well, the thing about LinkedIn is, I think you can also put up your resume. So I find that, again, I don't use LinkedIn, but when I used it, um, you can. It's people if you could put up your resume on LinkedIn, so people will know about like the prior jobs you had, your work history. So it's sort of you're building a profile on yourself for people outside can learn about you. So um, it can be a great resource for someone who's trying to build a professional profile. So I could definitely see that for coaches, for um, sole proprietors. I guess I don't really see the point for people with corporations or LLCs, but then I do kind of see it if, again, you're trying to establish professional and a professional presence. Uh, how am I doing?
No, really, really good. Really, really good. Yeah, it is really great. And that's a great point that you brought up. You can have it, yeah, you can have your resume, you can post job opportunities, which is really fun. I know a lot of people just simply looking for work tend to go to LinkedIn. So yeah, it's really neat, all of the things that you can house on that platform. And I think utilizing any platform in general, like the more that you can utilize, the better if it aligns with you. Things like, and I feel bad for saying this, but things, and this is just me personally, things like Twitter and TikTok, they don't align with me personally. If there's just a disconnect, I'm a bit older, so those platforms just don't align with me. I've tried, I didn't like it, it wasn't my cup of tea, I moved on. where I live is LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. I really like those platforms. But the more platforms that you can leverage, if all of them align with you, do TikTok, do Twitter, do all of them. I think there's like Clubhouses out there. That's a new one. I've never been in there before, but there's a lot social media offers, and they all should be explored. And if they align with you, stick with it. If they don't, move on. It's okay.
Can you are you able to talk about TikTok at all? No.
My 13-year-old son would be able to. So I went on there a couple times, and I think TikTok is really great for. I used it to search for things, some healthy recipes. Maybe I dance not well, but maybe to follow some Spanish dancers. So I think that it's great for my personal purposes. I use it for searching, for looking at things, almost like how I would utilize Pinterest. That's how I leverage TikTok. But I know I have a lot of friends on there that go on there and they do the dancing and all the things, and they love it. I mean, it's definitely fun. It's definitely fun, and it definitely appeals to the younger generation and older. I didn't mean that to come out the wrong way. It's great. It's a great platform. I personally just feels like it's really great for the younger generation to experience all of these social media platforms too. Because, like I said, when I was growing up, it was MySpace, and that was all we had.
So, what about Pinterest? Can you talk about Pinterest?
So Pinterest is really, over the past several years, it kind of became a popular hub for entrepreneurs. Now, I don't use it for my personal business. That's not a platform I feel comfortable with. But if you are somebody that like makes templates, makes professional templates, um, if you're a graphic designer, I feel like Pinterest for me personally is a bit more arty for the way that my mind works. So I will go on there and I'll look for colors. If I'm working with a client, they're trying to find a color palette, we'll do color palettes or logos. If you're, like I said, graphic designer, if you make cards and templates and all of these things for entrepreneurs, you really want to consider being on Pinterest because people are going there. People are, over the past several years, it really just boomed with entrepreneurs leveraging that. I use it for searching. So, and I think it's great. It's great. If you've never been on Pinterest, go use Pinterest. You might get slightly addicted. Sometimes I spend way too much time scrolling on Pinterest, but it really is a great platform.
Right. And Pinterest is I find it good for like sharing resources. So if you're looking for like recipes or step-by-step guides, or you're looking for like I'm a tutoring company, so if I'm looking for worksheets or um, draft of something, I know Pinterest is a good resource because people put things up there, for people like me to pull off, so or to pull from. So I think Pinterest is good in terms of sharing resources, something that can be printed or downloaded, um, things like things like that. So is that safe to say?
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, it really does depend on the person. We all interpret social media and these platforms in different ways, as it should be. As it should be. I have always felt like there is no one size fits all, because it's just a different. We're all different. We all have different minds, and it's just a different interpretation. But yeah, I would agree with you. If that's the way that you can utilize Pinterest, that's amazing. I use it for like searching all of the things. I think it's really really great for that and very user friendly.
All right. So there's a lot, so we're not going to go through all of it, but can you can let's define social media. Can you explain what exactly it is? If someone an alien came from outer space and they heard about social media and they say, "What is it? What is social media?" What would you say?
Oh wow, putting me really in the hot seat tonight. I would just say it's social media is mm, social media is our platforms, our live platforms where you can go to make connections. That's how, in my mind, and the way that I leverage social media, that's what it is to me. It's a place that I can go online to make connections.
Simply put. All right. Um, so now, is there, for an entrepreneur, is there such thing as too much social media?
Whew. I don't think so. I don't think so. So, some of the statistics that I took a look at a couple months ago said that some of the, the big companies, um, they post about, I think it said, it was either 4 to 6 or 5 to 7 times a day. I think it was about 4 to 6 times a day to post in one day. So that's 4 to 6 posts in one day was kind of the norm for bigger industry standards. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I do not have that kind of time. Um, so I don't think there is it's too much. I don't think that it's too much. But to add to that, what I would say is that you don't want to bombard your audience. For example, if you have a Facebook group, if you're an entrepreneur and you have a Facebook group, I would not post in that group 10 times a day. That's a lot. That's information overload for your people. They're going to get sick and tired of it. They're probably going to end up leaving. Okay. We all know the groups that I'm talking about. I'm in several of them where the posts are just, it's every 5 minutes. I can't keep up. And then you miss stuff and something doesn't make sense to you. So you have to, the way that I would address this is you really have to be very strategic. That kind of goes back to what I was talking about in the beginning. You have to be really strategic with your content, with your message, with your brand, and with your marketing. And all of that really falls under your marketing anyway. So you really have to take a look at what you're putting out there. If it's necessary to post 10 times a day, probably not. Probably not. I would say that if you are an entrepreneur across your platforms once a day, but there's also a way to kind of reuse and recycle your content as well so you don't feel like super overwhelmed. And maybe we'll talk about that in the episodes upcoming. Um, but I would say if you can get something up once a day, you're great. But with that being said, just make sure it's on brand, make sure it aligns with you, make sure you're being authentic with your people. Your people don't need things wrapped up in a pretty bow every single day. They just need you. They need your honesty, they need your voice, they need your know how because you were the expert in your field. So your people are coming to you as an authority. So really, it all at the end of the day comes down to a content game if you're an entrepreneur trying to grow.
Hmm. So are you saying that entrepreneurs should get on um, every single social media platform there is under this planet?
No, no, I wouldn't say that. I would say that it needs to align with you, certainly. The more the better, always. And that's just in life in general, with just the way that we live, right? The more, the better sometimes. But in general. So I would say it has to align with you. Like I brought up before, I'm not a TikToker, I'm not a tweeter, I'm not on Twitter. So because those don't align with me. And that's okay. Because what doesn't align with me might align with someone else. So you really want to look and research and navigate these platforms a little bit and get on them and test the waters and put out some posts and put out some content and see how you feel about it. If it doesn't feel right to you, don't do it. Get off that platform. But if the platform just maybe scares you a little bit because you don't understand it yet, navigate through that. Just keep going, push through, hang in there, because it might be that platform where you just blow up. So that's really really great. We want businesses to explode in their market. We want to see them do really well, especially for the small business owner. It's important. Um, so if it doesn't align with you, don't do it. That's what I would say.
Okay, awesome. And I forgot YouTube. What do you think about YouTube?
So YouTube is really great for live videos. People that are, their content and their information is all live video. If you have a weekly show, maybe you are thinking about getting into the podcast world, but you don't have one yet, and you want to test the waters on YouTube, or maybe you have a podcast. I know a lot of podcasters that have YouTube channels, and I know a lot of people that want to be in a podcast that have YouTube channels. So it's really great because you get your own dedicated channel and you'll develop followers over time, which is really great. And that is just another platform to get your vocal voice out there and your message. And people can watch your show and they tune in every week or every day, like they need to. Like, this is my show. I need to watch this. So I think that YouTube is phenomenal for those, that can harness the show out of it and be consistent. Consistency is key. I don't care what social media platform you're on. You have to be consistent. If you're not consistent and frequent, it's not going to bode well for you. And I don't mean that to come out in a harsh way, but it's the truth. You need to be, and in life, really, we need to be consistent. We need to be frequent. But YouTube is phenomenal for videos.
All right, awesome. And YouTube, my is good for service and product based business. Maybe better for product based business if you um well, it can go either way depending on how you use it. But if you have something that you want to demonstrate to people, or if you have something that you want to educate people about, and even the service based business like we do at a step ahead, it's like watching a TV show. So I feel like people are turning to like YouTube and streaming more. They're getting away from the TV. So if you want to put on your podcast, a web series like this one, or anything um, long, anything conversational, anything to teach, things like that, I would think YouTube is a good platform for that. What do you think of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All of what you just said, I think that's spot on 100%. And it really, so if you're seeing more products like you might have mentioned, I mean, it does depend. I know a lot of service-based entrepreneurs that do really well on YouTube. So I think it just depends. It always depends at the end of the day what's going out. What are you putting up that's piquing interest? You really have to look at that and follow, okay, what's grabbing my audience and what doesn't. It's a lot of testing. Social media comes down for the entrepreneur. It's a lot of testing, which is really good to go through because it lets you know exactly that, what's working and what's not. And when you know what's not working and what is, you can elevate and grow from there.
All right, awesome. All right, so let's start to wind down. So, do you have any final words of advice that you want to share with our viewers? Maybe any entrepreneurs who may be listening. Maybe there's something that you wish someone told you when you first started. Any advice that you would like to share?
Yeah, so this might come out a little harsh, but try not to follow the trends. I know that that sounds a bit counterintuitive, and I truly wish that somebody had said that to me when I first started building a social media presence, especially going into business. Especially going into business. You need to do something different. Being I don't want to use the word copycat, but using the same template somebody else is doing, using the same verbiage as somebody else is using, using a video that might have made somebody else go viral and you're really hoping to go viral. So you're saying, okay, well, this person did it. I'm going to take this and use it. It's not going to get you anywhere. And you really need to be authentic, be frequent, be consistent, but develop your own things. Be a leader in your industry. Don't follow the crowd. Don't follow the crowd. And I know some people are watching this and listening to this like, no, she's nuts. I have to do what's trending because it's trending. But is it going to be trending for you? It's trending for other people, sure, but is it going to be trending for you? And that answer is probably not. I see this day in and day out. So just try to have a little bit of a rebel heart and be different. Think outside the box and be different. Using other people's stuff only makes you a second rate version of what somebody else has done. And I know all of my entrepreneurs listening do not want to be a second rate version. They want to be a first rate version. They want to be in their own category. So take it with a grain of salt, but that's what I got for tonight.
Awesome advice, and thank you so much for sharing that. All right, let's get your banner up. All right, you guys. Haha. All right, so Brittany Gregorio is all over social media, you guys. You can follow her on, she has a Facebook page and a Facebook group. So definitely check those out and follow her. And follow her on Instagram as well. And if you have any questions or something you want to run by her, her email is there. So definitely send her an email. And Brittany, do you want to take a moment and talk about your business?
Yeah, so I am a marketing strategist, which is super exciting for me because, as you can tell, the trend probably from last week's show too, I talk about a lot of content. So that's what I do. I create content for you. I utilize your content. I have a very special method that I utilize and leverage. I built up a beautiful evergreen content library for my clients, and we do everything with strategy. We do everything with intention, and we do everything being just the way we are, super authentic. As you guys might have remembered from last week, I am a rebel and I like to go against the grain. And when something's uncomfortable for me, I don't do it. And I hold that message very clearly, and I'm very bold with my clients. I make that very clear when somebody chooses to work with me. Do not expect to do what everybody else is doing because I won't do it. And believe it or not, I've been asked to not copy, I don't want to use the word copy, but I've been asked to do things before that are very similar to what other people are doing out there. I won't do it. It's just something I won't do. It doesn't align with my core values. So if anybody's ever looking for somebody different, somebody that thinks outside the box, if you need help growing your business, I'm here for you.
Awesome. And you heard it from her right here, guys. So if you're looking for somebody real and authentic, Brittany is your girl. So definitely hit her up on that social media and send her an email. She doesn't have a website yet, but she's working on it. So for now, um, social media is there, and this might be a good tip for people that maybe you don't have a website yet, that's okay, take your time, but definitely leverage social media to your advantage. And again, her email is there if you want to reach out to her. All of her contact, all of her contact information is scrolling below right there. Wait, okay, there it is. And for those of you watching this episode on YouTube, it is also in the description. All right, Brittany, thank you so much for joining me again today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is just so much fun.
Awesome. I try. All right, I'm going to bring you off camera now. And you guys, it is just you and me. Let me get up my banner here. And we have reached the conclusion of our episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. So, wherever you are watching this episode right now, whether that is, speaking of social media, whether that is um, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, eventually it'll get to Instagram. So wherever you are watching this episode, please check out our video library for our other episodes for hot topics, and check out our video library for more videos and clips. And don't forget to follow us. Follow, subscribe, like, whatever the button is, press that button. Definitely stay in touch with us. And if you want to learn more about A Step Ahead Tutoring Services, this web series is a production of A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. Our social media is scrolling below at the bottom of your screen. So definitely check us out. But I will say our website, it is www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. So if you are looking for a tutor for yourself, for your child, if you just want to know about the services that we have to offer, our workshops, definitely check us out on social media to learn more and go to our website to learn more. I also encourage you to sign up for our email list and our texting list. That information is also scrolling below in the scrolling marquee here. So if you join our list, you will get exclusive access to our discounts, our promotions, and our special events. You will hear about all of that stuff before anybody else. So I encourage you to sign up for our email list and our texting list. That information is in the scrolling marquee below, and it is also in the description for those of you watching this on YouTube. What was my other thought? I had a thought. Oh, yes. And let us know what you thought about this episode by leaving a comment in the comment section below or in the comment thread. And if you have any questions, put that in the comment section or thread as well. All right. So I'm going to play this final message before we officially close.
Hey there, have you heard of us? We're a small team of tutors here at A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. We believe that education and information should be accessible to everyone, regardless of income, race, or creed. We're dedicated to making this happen, but we need your help. Please consider making a donation to our company. No amount is too small. Your donation will allow us tutors to remain employed, offer free and low-cost services, put on productions like this web series, and reach out to families nationwide. With your help, we can tackle the academic challenges of our students and the emotional, mental, and behavioral changes that result from these challenges. As a bonus, we can improve our communities in the process. Support us today. Note: we're a for-profit company. We're not a charity. Your donation may not be tax deductible. Please consult a tax professional.
All right, you guys, we are done for the day. Thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. And now I am signing off.